Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm really glad you're here today. If you clicked on this video, chances are your heart's probably hurting. Maybe not just a little, but that deep, aching kind of hurt. The kind that only comes from loss, from heartbreak, from someone walking away who once meant everything to you. And if that's where you are right now, I just want to say, I see you. I truly do. You're not invisible. You're not being dramatic. You're not weak. You're human. And you're not alone. Breakups can feel like the end of the world, can't they? Like everything you thought your life would look like just shattered in an instant. And maybe you're the one who got left. Maybe you had to walk away, even though it broke your own heart. Or maybe it was messy and confusing and you don't even fully understand what went wrong. You just know that now it hurts like hell. I've been there too. I really have. And I know it can feel like the pain will never end. Like you're waking up to the same ache every morning, going to bed with the same lump in your throat every night, like you just can't seem to breathe the way you used to. That's why I wanted to sit down with you today. Not to give you a list of cliches or tell you to just move on, but to actually walk with you through this, to help you invite God into the very middle of your heartbreak through the power of healing prayer. You see, I remember a time when I went through a breakup that left me completely gutted. I mean, it was the kind of thing that had me staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., trying to figure out where I went wrong, replaying conversations, rereading old texts, asking questions I knew I'd probably never get answers to. And what made it harder was that I genuinely thought this person was the one. You know that feeling? You start planning your future with someone. You imagine the trips, the holidays, the everyday little things, and suddenly it's gone. Just gone. And even if it ended for a reason, even if it wasn't perfect, it still leaves this void that you don't even know how to begin to fill. And maybe people around you are saying things like, "You'll get over it," or "There's more fish in the sea." But none of that helps when you're just trying to figure out how to get through your day without falling apart. That's why this space matters. That's why this moment matters. Because I believe that even in this, especially in this, God is near. He's not intimidated by your brokenness. He's not surprised by your tears. He's not looking at you with judgment. No, he's reaching for you, right in the middle of your mess, saying, "Let me carry you." And I don't know about you, but I used to think healing prayer was only for sickness or serious trauma. I didn't realize that God cared this much about emotional pain, especially something like a breakup. But he does. He absolutely does. Because love is a reflection of his heart. And when our hearts are broken, it matters to him. He doesn't look at your pain and say, "Oh well, you'll get over it." He looks at your pain and says, "I want to heal this. I want to hold you through it. I want to remind you that you are still loved, still chosen, still enough." So if today your chest feels heavy, if your mind keeps circling back to that person, if you feel like your worth has been shattered along with the relationship, I just want you to take a deep breath with me right now. Just one. Inhale. Exhale. You're not here by accident. I believe you're here because God is gently drawing you toward healing, toward comfort, toward a fresh start. And we're going to get there together. Not through perfection, not through pretending it doesn't hurt, but through honesty, vulnerability, and prayer. So let's do this together, step by step, heart to heart. I'm right here with you. And more importantly, God is too. I want to tell you about someone very close to me. Her name's Rachel. And maybe as I share her story, you'll see pieces of your own in it. Rachel had been dating her boyfriend for 3 years. They met in college, grew up together in all the ways young people do. Through the excitement of graduating, starting their first jobs, figuring out who they were becoming. They had plans, plans to get married, settle down, maybe move to a new city and start fresh. And Rachel? She was all in, heart, soul, everything. She gave him her trust, her dreams, her prayers, and maybe even a bit of her identity without realizing it. And then just like that, everything shifted. It wasn't even one big dramatic moment. It was subtle, gradual. The texts got shorter, the calls less frequent. The connection that used to feel so alive just started to fade. Until one day he told her calmly that he needed space. And then the space became silence, and the silence became goodbye. Rachel was wrecked. Absolutely undone. She told me it felt like her whole world collapsed inward. She couldn't eat, she couldn't sleep. She cried in the shower so her roommates wouldn't hear. And the worst part? She blamed herself. She kept replaying every little moment, every fight, every sentence, wondering what she could have said differently, what she should have done better. And let me tell you, Rachel is one of the strongest people I know. But even the strong break sometimes. And in that season, she felt like she was drowning. She tried all the things, journaling, running, late-night phone calls with friends, even distracting herself with work. But nothing could quite touch the depth of that ache in her heart. And one night, when it all felt too much, she broke down on her bedroom floor. And I don't mean crying in bed. I mean full-on sobbing on the carpet, fists clenched, whispering, "God, I can't do this anymore." And that's when something changed. Rachel told me later that in that moment she didn't hear a booming voice or see a flash of light. But what she did feel was this unexplainable warmth, like someone was sitting right there beside her, holding her, not saying anything, just being present. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't magical, it was quiet, still, safe. And that night, she prayed for real, not out of routine, not out of obligation, but from the rawest, most honest place inside her. She said, "God, if you really care, I need you to carry me, because I have nothing left." And that, she told me, was the beginning, not of instant healing, not of forgetting the pain, but of walking with God through it. Slowly, steadily, day by day. The next morning, she woke up still hurting, but something was different. She wasn't alone in it anymore. She started making prayer a daily thing. Not formal, not fancy, just real. She talked to God on her way to work, in the shower, while washing dishes. Sometimes it was angry, sometimes it was grateful, sometimes it was silent, but it was consistent. And little by little, her heart began to mend. I remember one time she said to me, "You know what's crazy? I used to pray for God to bring him back, But now I pray for God to bring me back to myself, to who I am, to what He's doing in me. And wow, that shift, that's healing. That's what healing prayer can do. It doesn't always remove the pain overnight, but it transforms the pain into purpose. It gives it space to breathe and space to grow. Rachel didn't rush the process. She cried for weeks. She had relapses. She still missed him sometimes, but the difference was she wasn't trying to heal herself anymore. She let God do the heavy lifting. She let Him carry her. And you know what? Months later, she laughed again. Really laughed. She started dreaming again. She began to feel like herself, not the broken version she thought she'd be stuck with forever, but a stronger, softer, wiser version of herself. And no, this isn't one of those stories where they got back together or where she met someone new right away. This is a story about restoration, about finding wholeness without needing someone else to complete her, about realizing that God had never stopped holding her, even in the moments she felt most alone. So maybe you're in Rachel's shoes right now. Maybe you're in the crying on the floor stage, or maybe you're just starting to breathe again. Wherever you are, there is no shame in your process. There is no timeline you have to follow. There is only one thing that truly matters. Keep inviting God in. That's it. You don't have to fix it all. You don't have to understand it all. Just be real. Be open. Let Him in. And watch what happens when you stop carrying the weight alone. You see, healing prayer isn't some magic spell that suddenly wipes all the pain away, or flips a switch that makes you stop loving someone instantly. It's not about pretending like the breakup didn't happen or denying how much it hurts. It's actually the opposite. Healing prayer is about giving yourself permission to feel it all. To feel the sadness, the confusion, the disappointment, and even the anger, but not feeling it alone. It's about taking all of those raw, heavy emotions and laying them down at God's feet, trusting that He's not only strong enough to hold them, but tender enough to hold you. So often after a breakup, we turn inward. We isolate. We get stuck in our own heads, questioning everything, blaming ourselves, or worse, believing the lie that our worth is defined by who left or who stayed. But healing prayer gently disrupts that spiral. It reminds us that we were never meant to carry this weight on our own. It's God's way of whispering, "Hey, you're still mine. You're still loved. You're still whole. Even when you feel shattered." And I know it might sound too simple, just pray and healing will come. But it's not about the words themselves. It's about the connection. It's about the surrender. Healing prayer is an invitation. It's you saying, "God, I don't understand why this happened. I don't know how to move on, but I trust that you do. I trust that you see the bigger picture. And even when I can't see the next step, I believe you'll walk with me through every one of them." That kind of prayer, raw, honest, surrendered, that's where healing begins. And not just emotional healing, but spiritual realignment. Because breakups can sometimes shake the very foundation of our identity, can't they? We start to forget who we are. We lose sight of our value. But healing prayer gently rebuilds that foundation, brick by brick, word by word, as God reminds us, you are not less because someone left. You are not broken beyond repair. You are not forgotten. There's something so sacred about crying in God's presence, about being real with Him, not polished or put together, but just real. He doesn't need you to clean up your tears before coming to Him. He welcomes them. He honors them. Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." That's not just poetic. It's a promise. It means right now, in your heartbreak, God is nearer to you than you may have ever realized. And healing prayer is how you lean into that nearness. It's how you stop fighting the pain and start trusting the process. I once heard a pastor say, sometimes God doesn't remove the storm because He wants to walk with you through it. And that stuck with me, because so often we ask God to just take the pain away, make it stop, give us closure, or bring the person back. But sometimes the miracle isn't in the outcome, it's in the endurance. It's in the way your heart starts to soften again, the way your nights don't feel quite so lonely, the way you start to find joy in things that used to feel numb. And all of that starts with prayer. Not as a performance, not as a ritual, but as a relationship. When you pray in the middle of heartbreak, you're not talking to some distant, disconnected being in the sky. You're talking to a God who knows the exact shape of your pain. Jesus knew what it was to be rejected, to be betrayed, to love deeply and not be loved in return. He gets it. He wept, he groaned. He felt the kind of sorrow that words can't even touch. And that same Jesus is the one you're praying to. He doesn't offer judgment. He offers comfort. He offers presence. And in time, He offers peace. Not the kind the world gives, but the kind that guards your heart and mind even when the tears haven't dried yet. So if healing feels far away, if you're wondering when this ache will stop, I want you to remember this. Healing prayer isn't about arrival, it's about access. Every time you pray, you are accessing the comfort, strength, and grace of a God who never left your side. You don't need to have fancy words. You don't need to feel strong. You just need to show up, open your heart, and let God carry what you can't. That's where healing begins. And the more you do it, the more you'll realize God isn't just healing your heart. He's restoring your hope. So, how do we actually do this? I mean, how do we make healing prayer something real and personal in the middle of a breakup when emotions are everywhere? And sometimes it feels hard to even breathe, let alone pray. I want you to know this doesn't have to be some complex ritual or something reserved only for the super spiritual. Healing prayer can be as simple as sitting quietly with your coffee in the morning and whispering, "God, I don't know what to do with this pain, but I'm giving it to you." That's it. Start there. You don't need a perfect setup. You don't need the right words. You just need a willing heart. Find a quiet moment in your day. Even if it's 5 minutes before work or 10 minutes after you've cried yourself to sleep. Pick a space where you feel safe. Your bed, your car, your bathroom, wherever. You don't have to be kneeling. You don't have to light candles or play worship music unless you want to. Just you and God, raw and unfiltered. And in that space, let it out. Say it out loud if you can. Speak from your heart, not your head. You could say something like, "God, this hurts more than I thought it would," I feel lost, I feel rejected, I feel confused, I'm angry, I'm tired, and I don't know how to move forward. But I'm here, and I believe you're here too. Please meet me in this pain. Carry what I can't carry anymore. Heal the parts of me that I don't even know how to name. That's healing prayer. That's the moment you invite God into the mess, and you stop pretending you're okay when you're not. That's when healing begins. Some people like to write their prayers down in a journal, and if that helps you, go for it. Pour it out on the page like a letter to God. Don't hold back. Some days it'll be pages long. Other days it might just be a sentence or two. That's totally fine. This is not about performance. It's about presence. It's about showing up and giving your heart room to speak. If you're someone who connects more through movement, you can pray while walking. I know people who walk around their neighborhoods every evening, just talking to God as they go, letting their feet and their faith move together. And if the only time you have is when you're driving, talk to Him there too. I've had some of my most honest prayers in traffic, tears streaming down my face, asking God to help me not text that person I was trying to heal from. Real talk. God can handle that. What matters most is honesty and consistency. You don't need to feel something supernatural every time you pray. Sometimes healing comes quietly, slowly, almost like a hidden work underneath the surface. And that's okay. You're not failing if you still cry after praying. You're not doing it wrong if you still miss the person. Healing prayer isn't about removing all feelings. It's about processing them with God instead of by yourself. And that shift changes everything. It turns loneliness into connection. It turns silence into sacred space. And gradually, day by day, it starts to change the way you see yourself. Not as someone abandoned or broken, but as someone deeply loved and being restored. If you want to create a rhythm, try setting a reminder on your phone for the same time every day. Maybe first thing in the morning, before the world gets loud, or right before bed, when the loneliness creeps in, or any time during the day when you feel those waves of sadness start to rise. You don't have to wait until you feel strong to pray. Pray when you feel weak. Pray when you feel angry. Pray when you feel numb. Just pray. Because every time you turn to God in those moments, you're building a bridge between your heart and His. And over time, that bridge gets stronger. And so do you. Another way to deepen your healing prayer life is to read or meditate on scripture that speaks to your situation. Verses like Psalm 147:3, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Or Isaiah 43:2, When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. Or even Romans 8:28, And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. When you pray these truths back to God, they become anchors. They remind your heart of what's still true, even when your emotions tell you otherwise. Keep a list of those verses somewhere. Stick them on your mirror. Save them in your phone. Speak them out loud when the loneliness hits hard. These are your lifelines. And here's the beautiful part. The more you practice healing prayer, the more you begin to feel God's presence, not just in your prayer time, but all throughout your day. You'll be making lunch and suddenly feel peace where there used to be anxiety. You'll see a photo of your ex, and instead of spiraling, you'll whisper, "God, thank you for bringing me further than I was last week." You'll catch yourself smiling again and realize you're healing. Maybe not fully yet, but you're on your way. And every prayer, every moment, every tear, it's all part of that process. Now, I know that building a new habit, especially something like healing prayer in the middle of heartbreak, can feel overwhelming. You might wake up some days and feel too numb to speak. Other days you might feel so angry that the idea of praying feels off or even fake. And I just want to say, that's okay. You're not a bad Christian. You're not weak. You're human. And God gets that. Starting and sticking to a healing prayer habit doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It just means you're willing to show up, even when it's messy. One thing that really helped me, and a lot of others I've talked to, is pairing your prayer time with something comforting and grounding. Maybe it's making your favorite tea or coffee in the morning, sitting by the window, and just letting that quiet be your space with God. Maybe it's turning off your phone for 5 minutes and lighting a candle at night, not for a ritual, but just to signal to your heart, hey, this is my time to breathe, to release, to let God in. You can even set a gentle reminder on your phone, not one of those loud alarms, but just a soft nudge that says something like, pause, pray, heal. A tiny reminder that God is still right there in the middle of everything. It's these little anchors that help you stay steady when your emotions are all over the place. Another thing I really recommend is journaling right after you pray. And again, not in a forced, I have to write a sermon kind of way, but just jotting down a few thoughts, feelings, or even one word that stood out during your prayer time. Some days you'll write a page, other days it might be still hurting but still here. That's enough. What this does over time is help you track your journey. And trust me, after a few weeks, when you flip back through those pages, you'll see growth. You'll see moments where peace broke through. You'll see how your prayers started shifting from desperation to hope, from anger to surrender. And that right there, that's healing in motion. Another small habit you can build is to start your day or end your night with one short prayer that becomes a kind of anchor. Something simple like, God, carry my heart today. Or, God, be near in this pain. Short, honest, and consistent. That kind of repetition starts to seep into your soul and it becomes a rhythm of trust. You'll find yourself whispering it in traffic, during work, while folding laundry, or while trying not to cry in the grocery store. Because healing prayer isn't limited to a certain time or place. It travels with you. It becomes part of your breath. Some people I know also like to find a healing prayer partner, someone you trust, maybe a friend or mentor, who can check in with you every few days or once a week and pray with you, even just for a few minutes. There's something incredibly powerful about having another voice speak hope over you when yours feels too tired. And if you don't have someone like that right now, you can still record voice memos to yourself. Yes, really. Talk out loud like you're praying. Then save it. On the days when you can't find words, you can go back and listen to yourself speaking faith over your own life. It sounds weird, but it works. Because sometimes your past self will say exactly what your present self needs to hear. Also, make your environment work for you. If seeing certain things, photos, songs, messages from your ex, pull you back into pain, be intentional about creating a space that supports your healing. Replace those triggers with reminders of truth. Put up a sticky note that says, "I'm still healing, but I'm not alone." Or frame a verse that speaks life. Make a little playlist of worship songs that calm your spirit and keep that nearby. Healing prayer grows best in an atmosphere of grace, not pressure. You don't have to pretend you're okay. You don't have to pray like someone else. You just have to show up as you. That's who God wants, your real self, not your put-together self. And here's a bonus tip. Every time you feel the urge to reach out to your ex, turn that moment into a prompt to pray. Instead of texting them, take a breath and say, "God, I'm hurting right now. I miss what we had, but I'm choosing to bring this ache to you instead." Do that over and over again, and eventually those moments will stop feeling like cliffs and start feeling like bridges. Bridges back to your healing. Bridges back to your wholeness. Healing prayer becomes your anchor, your outlet, and your quiet rebellion against hopelessness. Because let's be honest, healing is hard. It's a long road. Some days you'll feel like you're making progress. Other days it'll feel like you're back at square one. But the truth is, every time you choose prayer over panic, faith over fear, or God over going back, you're moving forward. Slowly, quietly, beautifully forward. And that's what matters. That's what healing prayer does. It doesn't just mend what's broken. It teaches you how to trust again, how to breathe again, how to be okay even before you feel okay. And the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. Not because the pain disappears, but because your peace grows stronger. Hey, before we wrap up today, I just want to take a moment to speak directly to your heart. I don't know exactly what you're walking through right now, but I know breakups are never just about the relationship ending. They're about the dreams that were wrapped up in that person. The what could have been, the late night laughs, the shared plans, the feeling of being seen. When that's gone, it feels like a part of you goes with it, doesn't it? But listen, what you've lost does not define who you are. You're not just someone who got left or someone who let go. You are someone who is still deeply loved, right here, right now, in the middle of all this pain. And I need you to hear this. God has not walked away from you. In fact, He's never been closer. His heart is for you. His arms are wide open, and He is ready to carry every single broken piece of you, no matter how scattered it feels. You don't have to carry this pain alone. You were never meant to. I believe with all my heart that healing prayer is not just a nice idea. It's a real, living connection to a God who still heals today. Not always in the way we expect, not always in the timing we want, but always in the way that transforms us from the inside out. And if you've been sitting here today thinking, "I don't know if I have enough faith," I want you to know, you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need enough to whisper his name. You just need the tiniest mustard seed of faith to say, God, please help me. And he shows up. Every time. Maybe not with thunder or lightning, but with peace in the middle of your panic, with a quiet strength that holds you up when you thought you'd collapse, with a sense of hope you didn't think you'd feel again. That's what he does. That's who he is. And he's doing that for you even now. So please, if you felt something stirring in your heart today, maybe a tear you didn't expect, or a moment where your chest finally exhaled, don't ignore that. That's the Spirit of God saying, I see you, I love you, I'm healing you. Give healing prayer a real chance. Start today. Start right now. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be honest. Just take one step toward God and watch how he carries you the rest of the way. Your healing journey has already begun. You might not feel it yet. You might still cry yourself to sleep tonight. But trust me, healing is happening. Peace is coming. And joy will rise again. Maybe not today, but soon. And when it does, you'll know it wasn't because you were strong, it's because God carried you through. And hey, if this message resonated with you, if you felt even a sliver of encouragement or hope today, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button and be part of our growing community here on Live According to God's Word. This is a space where we get real about life, about pain, about faith, and we walk together toward healing. And please, don't be shy. Drop a comment below. Tell me where you're at in your journey. Share your story. Ask for prayer. I read every single comment, and I pray for you. You're not alone here. This isn't just a channel. It's a family, and we're healing together, one prayer at a time. Until next time, stay strong, stay soft, and remember, God's healing is not just possible. It's personal, and it's already on its way to you.